We are live on a Sunday afternoon talking football, specifically the NFC South, as we talk some Carolina Panthers with Rashad Beard, Panther Nation Podcast. You can check out the Panther Nation Podcast YouTube channel, link in the description of this video. Good to see you again, Rashad, especially after a playoff season.
Yeah. Panthers are made the playoffs for the first time in forever. So we're feeling good, and that's why I had to make you wait. Usually I'm the first one because we're pretty bad. But we're good here and we're here now. So let's talk about it.
That's right. It's good to not have to always talk to you at the very beginning of our process, either
Yes.
before the offseason or before the season begins. So that's good to know. And a lot, of course, positive took place with the Panthers. Now the next step is to continue to build because the roster is far from complete. And that's what this offseason hopefully will be about as far as the successes of the Carolina Panthers. Not a lot changing so far. No major front office moves. I guess the biggest coaching news just came recently, correct?
Yeah, one of the biggest pieces of news for us, Panther related, is Darrell Bevel. We hired him as an offensive assistant or some associate head coach, offensive specialist type role. Obviously, has some experience calling the offense for several teams, and has a connection to Canales going back to Seattle. So one of the big question marks going into the offseason was, can Canales handle the offensive play calling and the head coaching, right? And that's been a little bit of a struggle for us Panther fans. It's like, all right, he's a good coach. We like him as a coach, but some of the play calling is a little questionable, right? Is he getting the best out of Bryce? And so that's kind of, although it's good, it's progressing. Bryce is doing better. We feel like in some situational, in some situations, we're kind of being a little conservative, and then when we get behind, you got comeback Bryce. Well, we could have been, having this kind of aggressive offense if we would call it from the start. So just some things that are notable to watch with the Carolina Panthers. And I don't know, we don't know if he's going to give up play calling or not, but I do think that kind of gives us a little signal whether he's going to give it up or he's going to get some sort of assistance from Darrell Bevel.
And the good news, which is one of the coaches that did not leave.
Yep.
Defensive coordinator did not get a job elsewhere. Of course, he was looking for a head coach job position. So maybe that time will come. But that's apparently good news because we all know how things change dramatically. And this is a perfect example in all of sports, but specifically we're talking the NFL, about how you can – it's not always the coach's fault when it comes to whether or not the offense or the defense is doing well. We all know Carolina's defense in 2024 was pretty terrible, and yet it was the same guy. What was it? It was a change in personnel. And as soon as he was able to get a healthy personnel as well as additional personnel aides to the unit, all of a sudden the Carolina Panthers became a halfway decent defense and a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. Like I feel like Evero he's one of those guys that he gets a lot of flack because of some of the situational defenses. Even going back and looking at the Rams game in the playoffs, some of that soft coverage and letting the guys kind of march down the field. He gets a lot of flack from that. But when you really take a look at the roster and the defensive personnel specifically, there's some issues there. There's some talent gaps on that defense, specifically linebacker, edge rusher, where we are missing some talent.
Yep.
But we went from historically the worst defense. I mean, we're talking like historically bad. We're in the record books for being historically bad against the run to now we are a top 15 defense. And that's just by getting Derrick Brown back for the most part. I mean, we added some rookies, Nick Scotton and such, but Derrick Brown was a huge missing piece in the year prior. We got him back and things kind of flipped. And I think Evero is he's getting head coach interviews for a reason. The guy can coach. If you listen to him speak, he's very well spoken. He knows what he's doing. I just think he needs more talent. And once he gets that talent on his roster, I think his scheme will be much better accepted by the masses, specifically Panthers fans. Because if you ask any Panthers fan, they're going to ask, you'll get polarizing answers when it comes to Evero.
Well, that's what we want to do here and take a look at the personnel moves that Carolina will have to make to get even better this season. They have the 19th pick in the draft, pretty much a standard number of picks. What do they just have? Maybe no fifth or no fourth? What?
That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't looked at the
Yeah, they only
entire-
have like one pick missing in the first 5 rounds or something, but it's not. I think they have the first 4 rounds. And then
Yes,
I think it
that's
might be
correct.
no fifth.
I think we have an additional fourth too, if I'm not mistaken.
So that makes up for it. And the cap is 19th overall at 14 million, which is fine. And it could, of course, I'm sure it'll rise as soon as they make some deals. They'll restructure things of that nature. Are there any players? I was looking at the contracts, and there are 3 players that stick out where they could save the most. But I have no idea whether or not they want to go down this road. I don't think they're going to do anything with Tommy Tremble. Maybe they'll restructure his contract because he has an inviting $6 million savings. Jones has a $4 million savings. And the biggest one is Sean Robinson with a $10 million savings and only a $2 million hit. We'll start there. Does Robinson have to worry about getting cut?
I think so. I think he's one of the guys that you may see, us move on from a cap casualty standpoint. I think he's a very good player. A'Shawn is a dog. I really like A'Shawn Robinson a lot. I think he brings a little bit of a edge to the defense. But he is definitely looking at that cap figure and us having to free up some space. That's the first name I'm going to because I think we can do better than A'Shawn. And just that cap figure is just a little bit too much. I don't know if they're gonna try to restructure, rework it. But if I'm looking at just someone they could potentially move on from, it would be A'Shawn Robinson.
Jones and Tremble, though, guys more than likely they'll stay.
Yeah, Patrick Jones was a guy. He got hurt early in the season, so we missed him most of the season.
Okay.
But when he was on, he was really well. He played really well from an edge rusher standpoint. And I think having him on the roster would have certainly helped the pass rush because we got 2 young guys. But I think Patrick Jones, I think he may stay around. It depends what we do. From a free agency standpoint, I think they're going to look to swing for the fences from an edge rusher standpoint. So I don't know if Patrick Jones is going to stay around. I don't know. That's okay. He's one to watch. But I think if it gets really tight, I think they could move on from him too.
And they do, of course, I'm sure they value everything that Tommy Tremble has become, especially as a blocker. He seems to be improving each year. So what are we looking at? Maybe restructuring his contract. They want to hold on to him, I would guess. Correct?
It's very, very interesting, but I believe he's on the last year of his deal. I think he got a 2-year extension last year. And so I think this coming into this year is the last year of his deal, if I'm not mistaken. And we drafted, Mitchell Evans last year, who I really like, who got some burn, a lot of burn because Jatavion Sanders went down. So this is one that to keep an eye on. They may move on from him a little bit early, especially if they can get somebody to draft. But I like Tommy Tremble. Tommy Tremble is a dog. He is, a do-it-all tight end. He can block. He can catch. He's getting better every year. They re-signed him for a reason. So, but if you're looking to get a few dollars back, I could see them potentially moving on from him just because, again, Mitchell Evans, he played well as well. They're kind of the same guy almost. So we'll see with that. But we like Tommy. I think Tommy's going to hang around.
All right. You mentioned edge. So are you saying that if you had to predict the one part of free agency that Carolina is going to zero in on and try to hit big, would it be edge?
It's going to be edge rusher. Yeah, it's got to be. We don't have a true pass rusher, a true game-changing pass rusher. We sent him off to the Giants a couple of years ago in Brian Burns, and we haven't had a true pass rusher since then. We got 2 rookies, Nick Scorton, Princely Umanyelan. Both of those guys are solid, but they're not true game changers, right? So when you need a guy to make a play or to make the offense adjust to, we just don't have that guy. So I expect us to really swing for that. I think it's scrolling way too far down. I think we're gonna go right to the top, and I think they're going to swing for the fences and go for a Trey Hendrickson, or maybe even potentially trade for Max Crosby. I really think they're going to make that kind of move, because I think that's if you look at our defense, that's the biggest thing we're missing is an edge rusher. We need an edge rusher in the building, and I don't think we're going to draft another one. We invested some draft capital into the edge rusher position. Hasn't quite worked out for us. I think they're going to swing for the fences and go for the top guys. One of those guys, and on the top of this list, will be a Carolina Panther. Mark my words.
Well, the unfortunate thing is, it's like, as we all know, the edge rushers are sort of like offensive tackles. They very rarely are available on the market, especially in the prime of their careers, like Hendrickson is, even though he's also getting a little bit older, coming off an injury. But teams are desperate. They're desperate for pass rushers. They're desperate for offensive tackles. And Hendrickson's out there for a reason. And the biggest one is just because he's associated with the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's be honest. Hopefully he'll be healthy and he can provide another 2 years of service wherever he lands. So I'm sure he's going to make out. It just all depends on where he lands, because there's going to be a lot of teams asking for him. So
for sure,
we'll see if the Panthers can get lucky and land Trey Hendrickson. Look, it's a deep class of edge rushers this year. So I agree with you. There's no reason for them to go back into the first round, but because it's so deep, you could easily, depending on what they do in free agency, I can still see them saying, hey, let's just grab another one of these guys in the second, third, fourth round, because it's such a deep class. Let's continue with free agency now and talk about the players that are definite free agents. Panthers are going to have to make some decisions on, starting with the offense. And looking here, I do not see, look, Dowdle seems like to be the biggest name on the list, but he is a running back. There's still Chuba Hubbard there. They spent draft picks the last couple of years on running backs. You can spend another draft pick again this year on a running back if you like. Do you think that's the direction they're going to go and let Rico sign elsewhere?
It's very interesting. Yeah, I think based on the production of Rico on the back half of the year, I think they're going to end up letting Rico, test the waters, go out there and get another offer elsewhere. I just don't think we're going to pay him as much as he's commanding or going to command. Look, the guy had a great year, middle of the year. He went crazy. He had a couple 200-yard games. He was going crazy. And I think that Canales had trouble trying to balance Rico and Chuba once Chuba got healthy again. So I think this is Chuba's backfield. We invested money into Chuba, so Chuba's not going anywhere. So I think Rico's going to end up, pricing himself out of Carolina. And I think we have to keep our eye on Jonathan Brooks. Like, I know Jonathan Brooks got his ACL injuries and all that stuff, but listen, he is exactly what this offense is missing. If he comes back healthy, it's going to be a huge boost to this offense. Bryce Young needs a guy like Jonathan Brooks, a guy that can dump the football off to out the backfield, and Jonathan Brooks can go out there and create in space. That's Jonathan Brooks' game. That's what we saw. The very brief second that we saw him in Carolina, that's what made him great, and that's what makes him great. And I think we need him healthy. I do think we're going to go probably draft another running back. Like you said, we did draft a couple last year. We drafted ETN last year, excuse me. ETN is more of a special teams kick returner, punt returner. So he has his role. He's not going to, not going to go anywhere from that. But we still have to protect ourselves from the potential of Jonathan Brooks, re-injury or whatever, because we don't know with his history, it could be issues, lingering issues with his ACL. So I think we're going to move on to answer your question, we're probably going to move on from Rico.
Yeah, and at the end, you don't draft a player in the fourth round and to not expect him to be a pretty big part of your offense and special teams. Of course, we know that. But the couple of young guys all waiting for their opportunity now. And maybe that's the direction they will go, especially to save some money. Also on offense, are there any other, because most of the free agents on offense besides Dowdle are the offensive linemen. There are 5 guys that are free agents along the offensive line. Which one of these offensive linemen, if any, will be considered a priority?
I mean, Cade Mays has to be the priority. Right? He's our starting center. He was a backup, worked his way into the starting role, kind of took it from Austin Corbett. And the guy's been playing well. The word on the street is there are other teams interested in his services, and the Panthers want to keep him. but he may also price himself out depending what moves we can make to restructure. But Cade Mays is a guy I think we need to find a way to get back. I think he's going to definitely make himself some money, whether it's here or another team. But yeah, Cade Mays has to come back. The other guys, Austin Corbett, I think it's time. He's been so banged up. It's been tough for him to get on the field, and he kind of lost his role to Cade Mays as starting center. I think we're going to move on from him. Christensen is a swing tackle, can play. He can play every position on the offensive line: guard, center, tackle, both sides. He can play literally every position on the offensive line. So he's a guy you want to bring back for depth purposes. But I don't know. He may find himself another job elsewhere as well. I think the one that has become super critical to keep right now is Yosh Nijman.
Really?
The reason being is because Ickey got injured in the Rams game. Very bad injury, right? Not good. He's going to be out for probably through training camp, right? And so you have to have Yosh. Yosh was very capable. He's a swing tackle. He can play left and right tackle. Probably better on the right, but can play left in a pinch. And I think you have to keep Yosh. We paid him, I think, $6 or $7 million last year for 1 year. I think you bring him back just because Ickey's down. You need some continuity. You know the system, so you got to keep Yosh as well. But Ickey got injured at the worst possible time on a contract year in the last game of the season, and it's a knee. It's bad. It's not good at all. It's probably one of the worst injuries an offensive lineman can get. So his rehab is going to take some time, and so that's going to be unfortunate. But Yosh, Mays, those are the guys that we need to keep.
Okay. Let's now move on to the defense. Before I move on, James Mitchell. He is a restricted free agent. Is he somebody that, after taking a look at him, and you mentioned Sanders and Evans, is Mitchell a guy that could be somebody that they see a lot more of the future with this team?
Nah, I think James will come in a pinch. I think they like him, his ability. Bigger tight end. They like him, but I don't know that he's not super critical. Now, I think you got to scroll back up a little bit there. Go back up. I think you got to talk about a guy in Jalen Coker. I know he's an exclusive rights free agent. He's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But this guy, we've talked about him.
Sure.
He's one of my favorites. Yeah. I've interviewed him 3 times. He's come on my show, so I'm a huge fan of Jalen Coker. And this guy's literally played himself into some big money this season, coming as an undrafted free agent.
So he's going to get a nice contract.
He's going to get a nice contract from the Carolina Panthers this season. So we talk about the disadvantages of being an undrafted free agent. This is an advantage of being an undrafted free agent because he's getting to his contract earlier in his career because, he's come in, he's played his way into it. It's tough, right? He had an uphill battle, had to play his way onto the starting lineup. He's playing very, very well, worked his way up. He is now officially wide receiver 2 for the Carolina Panthers. And so he, again, kind of knocked Xavier Legette out that role. And, I think big things are coming from Jalen Coker as long as he can stay healthy.
Yeah, Legette, unfortunately, I don't have to tell you, of course, that has not worked out so far. What do you think about this will be a huge year for him?
Yeah, I mean, this is make or break for XL, man. We like XL. We want XL to succeed. But I'd be honest and I'd be remiss if I didn't say I was super disappointed. We drafted him in the first round. He's very similar to Keon Coleman, right? Like we expect these guys to play better. I mean, it's just not clicking. I mean, he can get open. He's got to work on his hands. He's got to work on his field awareness. I mean, there's situations where he's not getting 2 feet down in simple situations where any NFL receiver can get 2 feet down. I think he had a late, had a late burst coming into college, right? So his senior year, he had a good year. He wasn't good until his senior year in college. And so he's still learning the game. And so now it's taking him some time to get right and develop as an NFL wide receiver. So, but I agree. This is make or break. This is make or break for XL, man. He has got to get it together. He had an interview with Cam Newton at the Super Bowl, and they were talking about it. And I think that he needs to get on the same page with Bryce Young and the coaching staff because I don't think he feels like he is being utilized to the best of his abilities.
Okay. Let's now move on to the defense. and most of the free agents here seem to be in the back seven, with the exception of you got DJ Woonham, who is, well, actually, you could put him there as well, but he's an edge guy, and Gibson. So let's talk about those two. Either one of those guys will be back.
No, I don't think we'll bring back Wanham at all. I think we're going to look to upgrade from Wanham and Gibson. I think he's a rotational guy. I don't think there's too much investment into Gibson.
Okay, linebackers, and none of these guys. Roseboom. I mean, he just seems like just a veteran who plays a lot, but doesn't really make any earth-shattering changes to the defense. And then you got a few other guys. Any of these guys important to bring back?
I think they may try to bring back Roseboom to be a rotational guy. I think that's what we initially brought him in for.
Okay.
We had Josie Jewell. Josie Jewell had the concussion issues, and so he didn't play this year, which is why Christian Roseboom ended up being a starter. Wasn't supposed to be a starter, and I think they're gonna try to bring him back to be a rotational guy, but they're certainly gonna look to upgrade. That's another. And I know linebacker is super deep, off-ball linebacker is super deep in this draft as well. I could see us going in and drafting an interior linebacker, off-ball linebacker to go alongside Trevin Wallace. But they also may bring in a veteran too. Think about Devin Lloyd. I think there's a couple of guys out there that I think they can go out there and get to improve that line, because that's a huge edge rusher, off-ball linebacker are critical. And they need to be improved this year. So for sure, we're going to bring in some guys to improve that.
Okay. Is his career over?
Who? Jewel?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he can come back, but we haven't seen him. He kind of just hung it up and said, I'm stepping away. I don't know if it's going to be temporary or he's cooked for the year.
Okay.
For his career. I don't know.
All right. So, and we're going to get into that, the top needs for the Panthers, because you mentioned linebacker, and I'll just put a little sneak peek in there. This was our mock draft from about a week or two ago, and we're going to have several more. Of course, this was in late January, but linebacker sounds pretty good to us as well. So we targeted CJ Allen over at Ourlads with Dave Syvertson and John Cooper. They're the ones who put this draft together. And this would make a lot of sense to you, CJ Allen?
Yeah, I think it would make sense, depending on what we do in free agency, right? If we go out there and get Devin Lloyd, then that wouldn't make as much sense. But if we go out and get, if we only invest in edge rushers and we still have a gap at linebacker, then it makes perfect sense. But I think Dan Morgan is going to try to shore up every position going into the draft and just draft BPA. That's what he's been doing. Okay. And I think that's what he's going to stick to that plan.
Yeah, you would think of all general managers, Dan Morgan understands the need for a really good inside linebacker. So.
Yeah, which is troubling as to why we haven't gotten one yet.
Yeah.
I think, if you go back and look at the history of the Carolina Panthers and look at our linebackers, we have been hurting for a long time since Luke Kuechly retired. We haven't been able to replace him. And even prior to Kuechly, you had John Beeson, you had Sam Mills, you had Dan Morgan, you had Thomas Davis. We had legendary linebackers, interior linebackers, and we just have not been able to fill it since then. So it's been rough sledding for the linebacker role.
Okay, and then we've got Nick Scott at safety. He is 31. I guess he's turning 32 soon, or soon enough. So will Scott be back?
I don't think so. I think they're going to look to move on. I think you look at Lathan Ransom behind him, who's been playing well. The problem with Lathan Ransom is he has a very similar skill set to Trevon Merrick. So they're kind of the same player. I think they're going to look to draft a true free safety. I think that's what this defense has been missing. There's a couple of guys I really like in the second and third round that I think they can go look at. But we don't have a true free a ball hawking free safety. We don't have that. Both of our linebackers in Merrick and Ransom are better close to the line of scrimmage, and so they're exceptional there. But free, sometimes we get beat, and I think we need a free safety for sure.
And then there's several corners, but none of these guys are big time contributors. Do you expect any of them back?
I think they do like a Caleb Evans, but I don't again, I think we can. Those are rotational guys. I don't see any need or any dire need. I really like Corey Thornton, who got injured. I think he'll be back, so I think they like him as well. So
Okay.
I'm cool. I think we're good on cornerbacks.
The special teams unit has a couple of shoes to fill, punter and long snapper. Is it just basically whenever Jansen wants to retire, he'll retire, or whenever he doesn't,
Yeah.
he'll just keep coming back on one-year deals?
Yeah, he's a legend, man. He's old, and I guess he'll play until he feels like it, and then we'll replace him at that time. But I don't remember too much Panthers football without JJ Jansen. That's how long he's been around. So he's elite at it. He does a great job. You never hear his name for any bad snaps or anything like that. So he'll play until he feels like it. Feels like stopping, and we'll welcome him back every year. And then for Sam Martin, I think they're going to bring him back. I don't think there's any question. He's a really good punter. I think they're going to bring him back.
Okay. Now, are there any injured guys? Because we've mentioned a few of them, guys that were banged up last year, Hunt being a big one. Well, let's go through just a couple of guys that were banged up last year. Maybe fans outside Carolina may not be privy to that. Hey, you forgot about these guys. These guys will be back next year. They're going to be a big part of the team, whether they're starters or big contributors. So we'll start with Hunt. And then, of course, we also talked about Icky. So a couple of guys along the offensive line, going to have to see how they rehab.
Yeah, well, Hunt played in the playoff game.
He did.
So he's
okay.
Yeah,
I forgot. Yeah, he came back.
Yeah,
okay.
he's back. So that's good news because we sorely missed him. But the good news about the Carolina Panthers is that the offensive line depth was very good this year. So we played well, but we missed Robert Hunt for most of the year. And he played in the Rams game, obviously in the playoff game, and we're gonna need him back next year. But he's good. Icky is the one you got to watch going into the offseason. He's gonna be rehabbing, mess his knee up pretty bad, and so he's gonna have to. We may not be with him the first 6-7 games of the season as he going to rehab throughout the year. May get him back at training camp. I have no idea, but it's an injury we're going to have to watch for sure. Luckily, the Carolina Panthers have been mostly healthy. We didn't have a really big injury like we did with Derek Brown last year. There's nobody really. Maybe Patrick Jones. That's really the only injury we're like, okay. He may come back and do some damage, but outside of that, we were relatively healthy.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about some developing young players on the team. Same kind of question, which is these are guys that maybe some fans are not they're not aware of, that the Panthers have some high hopes for these kids. Maybe they haven't cracked the starting lineup yet, or they're on the verge of being major contributors. Give us a couple of names, because I remember asking you this question a couple of years ago. And I remember the name Jalen Coker. So,
absolutely.
So let's see if there's any. I know we're probably not going to find any Jalen Cokers, but that's asking a lot. But you never know. So give us a couple of guys that you think might be ready to take that next step.
Yeah, I think you got to watch Jimmy Horn Jr. This kid is electric, and he did not get many opportunities this year. They kind of use him as a decoy for speed. They will put him in motion, try to get some matchups, and whenever he had a play, he made it. Whenever he touched the football, he made something happen. But I would like to see more of Jimmy Horn Jr. And our wide receiver room is a little crowded. You got a lot of mouths to feed with T-Mac, Xavier Legette, Coker, and Jimmy Horn. There's just a lot of mouths to feed. And so he kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit. So I think he's a guy, when given the opportunity, could potentially surprise some folks. Mitchell Evans, tight end. I like Mitchell Evans a lot. We drafted him last year. I don't know if we're going to talk about this, but we really have to talk about the success of our draft class last year, because all of these guys that I'm talking about, they're from our draft class last year, and they were contributors this year. They played well when they got the opportunities in very small sample size. Excuse me. So when you go out and you see a Mitchell Evans blocking and catching, playing very, very well, he's a guy that, if given the opportunity, because he's playing behind Jatavion Sanders and Tommy Tremble, Jatavion got hurt, so we got to see a little bit more Mitchell Evans this year. He's he's got a lot of ability in between, 10 yards. He's really good. Like, he's a really good receiver, sure hands, not going to drop the football, a really physical blocker. I like him a lot. He's a really, really good tight end. I think he's going to be the tight end of the future. Maybe not next year, but year 3, year 4, you're going to start to say, hey, man, who's this guy? I think he's going to keep an eye on Mitchell Evans for sure. It's going to be good.
And he's now been healthy the last 2 years, which is really important based on his previous injury history. So
exactly,
that's a good sign. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, keep him coming. Give me some other doesn't have to just be the rookie class, but if you've got more from the rookie class, that's fine.
No, so I got to go back to Jonathan Brooks. I mean, people forget about Jonathan Brooks. He's going to, if he stays healthy, I'm telling you, he is going to be a serious problem with the receiving out the backfield, making people miss. He's going to be really good. I just hope he stays healthy.
Okay. Anyone on defense?
Yeah, defensively, again, got to go with the rookie class, man. Nick Scorton had a really good year, very solid against the run, still developing as a pass rusher, but he is so good. He's going to be really good. I have no question that he's going to be a very good edge rusher. Again, just kind of dealing with the being a rookie, the body, going against those bigger guys. I think he's developing, so he'll be good along the way. I'm trying to see who else you got from a defensive standpoint that could surprise some
You
folks.
mentioned Corey Thornton.
Yeah, undrafted guy too. Very good. Corey Thornton, when he got the opportunities, when J.C. Horn goes down, Corey Thornton plays. He's got some juice to him. He's a very physical player, bigger cornerback. So he can line up. If Mike Jackson or J.C. Horn happen to go down, the kid can slot right in there. I don't think you'll miss a beat. Corey Thornton is a very, very good cornerback. Very good cornerback. I call him the Jalen Coker of the defense.
You're that serious. You think really highly of him.
Corey Thornton is a very good cornerback. Yes, very good.
Okay. By the way, you mentioned J.C. Horn. Was he satisfied with his past season?
I would say, yeah. I mean, he had a Pro Bowl season. I think that our defense,
unfortunately, that word now has been tarnished.
Yeah, I know.
This is the year they tarnished it all.
I know.
It's got to be pro. It's got to be all pro. If you don't say the word all pro,
right.
I don't think anybody wants to hear Pro Bowl anymore.
You're right. As soon as I said it, I cringed. I'm not gonna lie. So you're absolutely right, and I do agree with that assessment. Pro Bowls aren't what they used to be. But I would say yes. I would say J.C. Horn's pretty satisfied.
Okay.
We did miss him in the critical moment. I think he went out due to concussion protocol in the Rams game, and that's why they were able to drive right down the field and score on that last drive. But yeah, man, JC is elite when he's on the field. Very good cornerback. Okay. So yeah, I think JC's
Pro Football Focus had some problems with him this year. I see.
Yeah, I mean
that's why you can't always trust Pro Football Focus.
I mean, yeah, I like Pro Football Focus. I tend to agree a lot of the times with their assessments, but again, JC he's good. He's still elite. He's still elite cornerback. He's a top 10 cornerback in the league for sure, easily.
Okay, so anyone else? Anyone young here? A lot of young guys, by the way, especially a lot of undrafted guys. So,
So Shaw Smith-Wade played well this season. He's a guy that I'm going to be honest, I did not like coming out of a couple years ago, but he's playing well, so I give him a lot of credit. Trevin Wallace is still developing. Again, like you said, this is a young team. Our whole team is young. If you take off guys like J.J. Jansen and you take off a couple of those older guys, I promise you, we will have one of the younger rosters in the league. We're just a young team. And so a young team just coming off of an NFC South victory championship is great. The guys are developing, which is what you want to see. I think we're going to add a couple of veteran talents to this roster, especially on the defensive side. And I think we're going to be good to go next year.
Yeah, and of course, I was very excited as I remember telling you that I was able to draft Tet on my Dynasty Rookie League. I was very fortunate. And I had like the 6th pick or something like that. And I was like, there's no way I'm getting him. And I couldn't believe he was there. I was like, whoop, got him.
A lot of people slept on the Panthers offense, man. But T-Mac is a man. What's crazy is obviously he's offensive rookie of the year, well deserved, by the way. And he left a couple big plays on the field. Like he dropped quite a few balls this year, right? And
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna absolutely no. Yeah. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But what I say that to say, he had a very good season, and he still left some meat on the bone,
Mm-hmm.
right? He is that good. He's elite. If you watch him play, he reminds me so much of young Mike Evans. Mike Evans used to cheat, and I call him a cheater because Mike Evans the ability to draw offensive pass or defensive pass interference that's a talent, right?
Uh-huh.
Being able to draw those flags. I saw T-Mac do that several times. I'm like, dude,
he's a rookie too.
As a rookie, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, he's really good.
Oh,
T-Mac is good, and that chemistry between him and Bryce is developing, is getting better. And man, these guys are going to be that young receiving core between T-Mac, Jalen Coker,
yeah.
that 1-2 punch is a problem. I think it's a very slept-on combination, wide receiver combination in the league.
And with this tight end room, this was obviously talent there. I think the one thing that this group needs, and I don't know where they're going to find it. I don't know if they're going to do it because we talked about it in the beginning. But you do wonder whether or not they are going to try to target a difference maker at running back, because Chuba's a nice player, but he's not a dynamic player. He's just a nice player. He's a nice running back, hard-nosed kid. Maybe even an overachiever. But I do wonder but then again, it could be Brooks, a Brooks Chuba Hubbard combo could rectify all of that. And if that happens, then all of a sudden you got the offense cooking, especially with the offensive line looking as good as it's looked when they're healthy.
Yeah. And we want to run the football. We're a run first team. Like the Carolina Panthers are a run first. They want to run the football. Canales wants to run the football. So Chuba, Rico, it was great. And what made it so good was that Chuba got hurt, right? Chuba got injured early in the season. That's kind of why his season was a little off, because he's a very good player. He's 1,000-yard running back prior to that, right? So he's a good running back. He just got banged up. It took him some time to get his wheels back under him. But Chuba's going to be fine. But like you said, if Jonathan Brooks, I think it could be him. I don't think they're going to go out there and target another running back. I think they may add one in the draft, but I don't think they're going to go out there and get another Rico or anything like that.
No, that wouldn't make any sense. Okay, so let's talk about – I tell you what, before we go into the needs, last question regarding the active roster here, and that is Bryce Young. So as a fan, what do you want to see him do better to take that next step?
That's a tough question. I would like to see, and it's not really him. It's not him. I like his ability. I think the offense needs to be more aggressive down the field, right? I think we don't take as many shots as we could, and I think that's where XL's game is. That's where he excels. Stretching the football, stretching the field, running, go routes and catching the football. He doesn't catch the football when he has the opportunity, but that's where XL is good. I think we need to take more shots down the field. Even with T-Mac, when they do it, it works. I don't think we're doing it enough. So I want to see Bryce and Canales draw up more deep shots to open up everything underneath, right? That's where your guys like Jalen Coker would eat if we can stretch the field a little bit more. But I think we're a possession-style offense. We want to eat the clock, hand the football off, let just chew clock. That's the kind of offense that we are. And so I think it's by design, but Bryce, I think Bryce and like the talent is there, right? He's doing fine. I just think that when his turnovers happen, they come in bunches, right? So if we can limit the turnovers, Bryce is he's very good quarterback. And I think right now he's going into that contract year. I think it's a big year for him. I think he's very steady. I think he's got to show us that, hey, you're the franchise guy. I think there's still some question marks on whether he is the franchise guy. We know he's capable, right? He's a capable guy. And if you put everything around him and everything is perfect, I think you drop him in there and he's great. But if something goes wrong or something goes missing, let's say the offensive line, he can't overcome a bad offensive line like a Cam Newton used to be able to. He can't overcome not having a good running game. He can't overcome a T-Mac or somebody getting injured. Like, I think there's things that can happen outside of his control that impact his game. And that's what separates him from a guy like Josh Allen or a guy like Lamar Jackson, right? Those guys are elite game changers. And I wouldn't call Bryce Young a game changer. Yeah. He's a game manager. I hate going back to that conversation, but he's a very good game manager. And Sam Darnold,
That's all he was.
It's a game manager. That's all you need. If everything else is perfect,
yep,
Bryce is capable. And that's what they're trying to build here. Get the defense really good, right? Get the talent around him really good. Drop Bryce Young in. And I think Bryce Young is capable of doing a lot more than what Sam Darnold did to get a Super Bowl ring. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. So now let's go to the top needs. And before just throwing them on a dartboard, is there one specific need that every Panther fan knows is an absolute number one must, or are there two or three that it could be any one of these?
There's two.
Top two.
Edge rusher, interior linebacker. Those are the two. It's no question. You're going to get one answer. It's going to be one of those two, right?
Okay.
I'm going to say edge rusher. I think edge rusher changes the entire game. An elite edge rusher changes the entire defense, right? You got two good cornerbacks. They're good. Michael Jackson and J.C. Horn are very good cornerbacks, but they have to cover for so long, and they do it well. But if you get an edge rusher to even change the game a little bit to make the defense or the offense adjust and have to game plan for this guy, it's going to free up everybody. It's going to free up guys like Derrick Brown to do more damage. I think just bringing a true game changer at edge rusher, it changes the entire defense. It's just like adding Derrick Brown back to this the defense. You add another edge rusher to this defense, it's over. This defense is going to be top. It's going to be top 7 if you get an elite edge rusher in this defense.
So if they can't swing, a major move, because of course everybody wants to sign Hendrickson and everybody wants to trade for Crosby. So if they fail to do either one of those, does that then mean that more than likely you could see them targeting an edge rusher with their first pick?
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. If they don't, which I do anticipate them doing, I'm going to put it in the atmosphere. They're going to go out there and they're going to get an elite, proven edge rusher to help this defense. I do think the window has now opened, right? We made the playoffs.
That's right.
Right. You got to make something happen before Bryce Young gets paid, right? You got this year coming up, and then you got the year after that where you do the franchise tag.
Yep.
Right. And then you extend them. So you got basically 2 years to kind of get this thing going before you drop a major bag on Bryce Young potentially. I think now is the time you go out there and you get an edge rusher and make it happen. And then you still develop, right? You still got Princely, right, who's developing. Sure. He's not at his potential yet. So he's still developing. This score is still developing. But if you go out there and get a proven guy, it's going to help everybody. Everybody across the board in that defensive line is going to be better. And so I think that's what we need. And same with the off-ball linebacker, interior linebacker. We need a good coverage linebacker, somebody that can cover. That's where we're getting destroyed. Tight ends up the seam were killing us this year, just straight killing us. So Roseboom, not the best cover linebacker. We need an athletic sideline to sideline linebacker. That's what we need. And if I could get Sonny Styles, that would be if there was a perfect scenario, I would trade up to get Sonny Styles.
Okay, so
that's how important it is. I would trade up to get Sonny Styles.
Okay, so and again, a lot is going to depend on before the draft, but you feel pretty confident that they'll add an edge rusher prior to the draft, and if they do that, then the next step is now, again, a lot's going to depend on if they trade for an edge rusher and a significant one, that first-round draft pick may not be there. So we have to keep that in mind. But, hey, if it's Max Crosby, that's what you got to give up. And I'm sure you're giving up more than a first-round draft pick for Max Crosby. But, hey, I'd be okay with it. I'm sure you would too. So he's a generational player.
I would. That's what we need. We need generational players on this defense. So especially the edge rusher, we need it bad. Do whatever it takes. And I think you'll see it. I think Dan Morgan, those guys have been talking. They've been saying everybody knows what we need. And I think they're going to go out there and get it somehow, some way.
Any of these edge rushers better fits these 10 guys that are our most recent top 10. Of course, this is in flux. This is a change and updated, especially after the combine. But any of these guys fit better or worse with the scheme that Carolina runs, or what you're looking for?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I think the one that makes the most sense. I think T.J. Parker is and for the record, we've never drafted a Clemson guy ever in the history of the Carolina Panthers, which is really weird because they're kind of local. So you would think we would have drafted a guy from Clemson, but we've never drafted anyone from Clemson in the history of the Carolina Panthers. But I think T.J. Parker, he's one that if you can get him, I think he fits what we're trying to do. I think they're gonna want guys that can play multiple, right? They can play inside, they can play outside. I think TJ Parker can do that. I like Cassius Howell a lot as well. Between those two, I think if we can get in Ruben Bain, obviously he's way out. He's gonna go way before we can get him. But obviously he would be a great fit too. But Cassius Howell, TJ Parker, those are the two guys I'm looking at, and maybe they would fit right in exactly what Evero's trying to do.
Okay, excellent. And let's go through the rest of the needs. So we've gone through the top two guaranteed. These are the ones that are the biggest priority this offseason: edge and inside linebacker. Do you have a number 3 or 3, 4, 5 also kind of mixed together?
Man, yeah. After that, we could use, I think, to be honest, I would throw in a third one at the top of the list would probably be offensive tackle, right? Because of what happened to Icky. Icky going down kind of changes a lot. So I would not be surprised if the Carolina Panthers drafted a tackle at 19.
Now,
just because. Yep.
Are you talking about somebody that could also move inside though? Because
no.
What happens if Icky comes back and he's healthy?
If Icky comes back, then you got to start thinking about life after Taylor Moton. Taylor Moton is getting up there, so he's 30 some odd. He's getting up.
Okay,
he's getting up there. He's missed a couple of games. You know, after going so forever without missing any games, he missed a couple of games. He's getting older, right? So like 31, right? So he's getting 32. Up there.
Yeah.
Yep. He's getting up there. So if you draft a young tackle, right, that can play right or left, if Icky comes back, great. You slide him to the right in the future. So you kind of just future proofing yourself, right? So I can certainly see them doing that.
Best player on the board.
I wouldn't be mad. Yeah, BPA, exactly, BPA. And if that happens to be one of those top guys, it has to be Fano, then it is what it is. You have to take him.
Yeah. Let me see where
I like the kid from Miami too. I like both of those guys.
Well, he's right before you on our mock draft.
Yeah, I like it. I like him. Like him. If they were to get him, I would not be mad at it. Or either one of those guys. They got either one. I think that it would align with what the Carolina Panthers are gonna need, right? Because you're still a run first offense, and you got to protect Bryce at all costs. So you got to build that depth. So I could certainly see them going out there and drafting an offensive tackle at 19. Because it's like 1A, 1B. And I wouldn't have said that had Icky been healthy. But since Icky's not healthy, we kind of created a little bit of a gap there.
Okay. Then the last couple of needs.
I would probably say one could argue defensive tackle, especially when something happens to A'Shawn Robinson.
Okay.
I can argue that defensive tackle maybe need Cam Jackson. We drafted him last year, obviously, but I don't think he provided the impact that we needed. So I can see them in this fifth, sixth round pick. So I wouldn't necessarily expect that, but I could certainly see them going out there and getting a tackle for sure. Again, the game is won and lost in the trenches, so you got to win there. So that I could certainly see them going out there and do that. I could see them going after the safety as well. Can you go to your safety list?
Oh, the draft?
Yeah,
Sure.
The draft list that you had.
It's a pretty nice list. Well, the top two guys are really good, but
yeah, for sure. We're not getting Caleb. Caleb Downs would be a dream. That's not going to happen. But I do actually, I'm low key. I think if we can get him late, I think he would be a great impact and it aligns with your top 10 guys. But I like Bud Clark a lot. It's a true free, bigger safety. He had a great Senior Bowl. I like Bud. If we can get Bud Clark in a third or fourth, I would be elated. I think he can fit right as a true free safety. He's a legit free safety, and that's what this defense needs. So I like him.
All right. So there you go. Edge, inside linebacker, offensive tackle. Those are the top three. Then defensive tackle / nose tackle. You're looking for a guy with size up front, the true nose.
Yep.
Okay. And
a true nose would be great.
And a true free safety.
A true nose would be great. Yep, and a true free safety that we don't have it. Ransom and Merrick are strong, better at the line of scrimmage, and we don't have a true free. Nick was getting beat a lot. Just not ideal for our system.
What would be the surprise first round pick? Sort of like when fans were outside of Tampa were very surprised that Tampa went and drafted a receiver first. They were like, how many receivers do you need? And then it turned out that actually was a pretty good investment based on Evan's age, Godwin's injury, et cetera, et cetera. So would there be a pick in the first round where outsiders would be like, wait, what? Carolina drafted? Really? Why would they do that? Now, just looking at your needs, I'd probably say tackle might fit that, because I'm not sure most fans outside Carolina would think that you'd be drafting a tackle.
Yeah, so. I think tackle would be that surprise. But if you really look into it, it's not surprising at all. I think wide receiver. Listen, they're not going to draft a wide receiver in the first round. That would be highly unlikely. But I am of the thought that you need to draft a wide receiver every single year. Just you have to keep that pipeline, and I don't think we have that electric. I like Jimmy Horn. We just haven't given him enough looks. But if we're able to get another wide receiver and add it to the ranks, I think that would be solid as well. And it'll have to be first, second. I'm talking late fourth, fifth round pick, something like that. I think it would be ideal as well.
Yeah, because this class is going to be about the top three: Tyson, Tate, and Lemon. And I think any of those guys can go in any direction, especially because of Tyson's injury situation. Because if he wasn't injured, he'd be the next Tet. He'd be the next guy that would be considered a absolute 100% plug him, play him right away. I still think that's going to be the case. Hopefully he'll be healthy and ready to go. But every team's different when it comes to how they handle injuries to players. Okay, so Rashad, what are you working on right now? What is because you have a live show you guys do. Is it every Tuesday night?
Every Tuesday night. Yeah, every Tuesday night, 8:00. We go live. Just coming off of an interview with Jalen Coker, wide receiver. Sat down with him for a good 30, 45 minutes. Chopped it up with him, and very, very good show. So that I just released that a couple of days ago, I think on Friday. So that's out. Check that out if you want to know a little bit more about Jalen Coker, what makes him tick. Really good down-to-earth guy. So we got that out. Working on a few more player interviews. Also, draft mode. Right, so we're getting ready to do some mock drafts starting tomorrow. I owe my fans some mock draft Mondays. Probably do a couple of player profile video. I know Granddad is waiting on some profile videos. We'll see if we can get to it. We'll see. Because during COVID, I had a lot of time and to invest in draft, and I don't have that time anymore. So I used to do player profile videos back in the day. So. I'll get a question in from Grandizer. One question in from Grandizer, because he's been pretty impactful here on the message board. So what about this? What about drafting a quarterback? Isn't this Andy Dalton's last year? Upgrade quarterback number 2. Yeah, I think we're now in a situation where Bryce doesn't need a veteran behind him, right? I think he's kind of growing up. I think he's got his own ways of doing things. We no longer need a veteran backup behind Bryce Young. I think that drafting a quarterback it's going to make some people blink a couple. Like, what? Why are we drafting a quarterback? I still think they're going to go out there and find a journeyman to come in and back up Bryce. I don't know if they're just going to hand it over to another rookie. If something happens to Bryce, I just don't see that happening. I think they think too much of this team just to let another rookie come in and try to will his way through a situation where the playoffs could be on the line. So I think they're going to get a veteran to back him up. I don't think a quarterback. I think it wouldn't surprise me if they did that, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's actually going to be a pretty decent class of quarterbacks after the first round. I actually am one who believes that once Mendoza's gone to the Raiders, I'd rather take my chances with Nussmeier, Aller, Beck than to take Ty Simpson because he's going to get drafted way ahead of those guys so far. I mean, maybe Nussmeier has shown everybody that, hey, just don't worry about how bad my season was last year. That was college. That was LSU. That's not me. And I think he's done a lot to prove himself that, because I still think Nussmeier should be the second quarterback of the class. But whether or not that changes, there are going to be a few guys that are going to be available second, third, fourth round. And who knows, maybe even later, because another local guy like a Cade Klubnik wouldn't even be a bad idea late in the draft, in the middle to later rounds. A nice guy that could be a number two, a good number two quarterback. But you're thinking a veteran quarterback instead.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're bringing a veteran just to kind of, because they've done it a couple of times. They brought in Hendon Hooker over the course of the season, didn't quite work out. But I think they're looking for that guy, a veteran. Maybe a younger veteran, but a veteran that knows what they're doing and could potentially develop, right? Another QB, someone where Canales can impart his QB whispering ways to kind of help them out and in the light of an i.e. Geno Smith or something like that.
Yeah, these are the guys that are currently, well, let's see. You got Russell Wilson, Mariota, Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, that would surprise me. Tyrod is somebody that if they were able to get him, I think they would bring him in. That wouldn't surprise me. Or a Trey. No, I don't know about Trey Lance. What about was Justin Fields under? Is he done with?
No, they'd have to trade him, or if the Jets decide to eat his dead money and let him go.
Gotcha.
I guess we're gonna have to we'll see about that. So yeah, he could be available. Definitely a possibility. I know everybody's going to go after Malik Willis.
Yeah, Malik Willis is going to get a nice little check.
Question is, does Malik Willis want to go somewhere? You would imagine with the amount of opportunities that are out there, he's going to want to go somewhere where he's going to start. If not, then he'll just stay in Green Bay. You would think. Yep. But yeah, I think he's going to. He seems to be the hottest name. So most of these other guys, I think Daniel Jones is the only other guy on the list that's like a true. Hey, we can win with this guy if he's healthy. And he's young enough. All right. So anyway, that is going to wrap it up. Always a great job and fun talking to you about the Carolina Panthers, Rashad. I'm so glad we were able to do that following a playoff season. So my team is next. So hopefully after 2026, both of us will be able to start thinking about brighter days ahead and perennial playoff rounds. So I truly appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you. Looking forward to after the draft, and we'll get a taste of how the offseason went, see if your prediction came true as far as a veteran edge rusher. We'll be following you, of course, links in the description of this video of where you can find all of Rashad's work at the Panther Nation Podcast on YouTube. And unless something, look, if Max Crosby gets traded to the Panthers, you'll definitely be hearing from me.
Absolutely. I'll be the first one on the show doing some victory laps. But for sure.
All right. Get those jogging pants ready to go, and I'll talk to you sometime soon. Thanks, Rashad.
All right, guys. Peace.
All right. Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation Podcast right here on the Ourlads Football Network, ProLine TV. And Rashad he goes back. He's one of my very early long time analysts, team analysts. I have a select number who I've been interviewing for. I can't even think of the time frame because time goes by so fast, but it's been at least 5 years, at least, if not more. So we had a lot of conversations about bad teams. I had the same kind of conversations with Jeff Risdon with the Lions until they changed their ways. So, and we'll be doing more of this because we still have at least another 16 to go. I think we finally may have reached 16 because we've hit 2 in the weekend that I wasn't anticipating. We did the Denver Broncos last night, the Carolina Panthers today. I believe our next one is going to be on Wednesday, and that is going to be, I think it's the Cincinnati Bengals. I can see straight. Yep, the Bengals on Wednesday, the Steelers and the Jacksonville Jags on Thursday. So that's what we have lined up this week. 3 so far. But again, we got off to a head start with 2 on the weekends. So 3 more to go this week and many more to wrap up to 32 since we still have a ways to go before we can do that. We're going to try to get it all done. Definitely before the goal is to get it all done before we even sniff April. So that's my goal, of course, because I'd like to actually get them all done. Because really, if you think about it, the free agency is right around the corner, and I can't even believe we're getting that close to free agency. Because I do all these interviews all the time, and we talk about free agency and the draft, and it's an off-season preview show. But if depending on how quickly we can get these done, I may not be able to get them all done before free agency starts, which is let's see, we've got almost a month. We got March 11th, so almost a month before free agency kicks in. So I'm going to work really hard to try and get them all in before free agency. If not, if there's still a couple of holdovers, then what'll probably happen is I'm not going to ask them to do an interview like the first couple of days of free agency. That would be a waste. So if I can't get them all in before free agency, then if I have, say, 4 or 5 left over, then I'll probably just wait about a week or 2 after free agency starts and then go in and just do a draft preview with the remaining number of teams that we have on the list. But hopefully I'll get them in. Don't forget, of course, to check us out here for all our other programs, including tomorrow. I'll talk some more golf, hopefully, about another signature event, which is coming up on the PGA Tour at the Genesis. We'll also be talking more college basketball, almost coming up to March Madness real soon. We do that every Friday night. We have our NASCAR show. That is going to be on Tuesday. We'll wrap up the Daytona 500 and talk about the race coming up in Atlanta. Our horse racing show will be off this week. We'll be back in almost 10 days to talk about 4 Kentucky Derby prep races on Thursday, a week from Thursday, with John Hardoon from the Raggers and Sheets. And everything else still continues to be about football. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the participation in the comment section, especially you, Grandizer. Appreciate you kicking it up. And we'll see everybody again here real soon on Proline TV and the Ourlads